Welcome to this video on simplifying rational expressions using the distributive property. Let's begin with an example. Use the distributive property to simplify the algebraic expressions given. So for number 1, we have 1/3 times the quantity 9x minus 6. So let's remember how the distributive property works. We need to distribute the 1/3 and multiply it by every single term in the parentheses. So that means that I have 1/3 times 9x, and then I have 1/3 times negative 6. And I'm going to rewrite this so that they're combined by addition. Another way to write that, if this confuses you, you could also think of this as 1/3 times 9x minus 1/3 times 6. They're equivalent expressions. They're going to give you the same answer. So pick whichever way makes the most sense to you. Now at this point, I can multiply across. I have 1 times 9x. That's going to give me 9x. Then the 3 stays there. It doesn't go anywhere. If it helps you, you can always put the 9x over 1, and then think of this as multiplying 3 times 1. Likewise over here, we have 1 times 6, which is 6, and then we have 3 times 1. Again, think of the 6 as being over 1, so it would be 3 times 1. We can further reduce this. 9x divided by 3 is 3x, and 6 divided by 3 is 2. So the final answer for this problem is 3x minus 2. Let's do another example. Number 2 says negative 3/4 times the quantity 6x plus 16 over 9. So again, what we need to do is we need to multiply every term in the parentheses by negative 3/4. So we have negative 3/4 times 6x plus negative 3/4 times 16 over 9. And again, sometimes people are bothered by the fact that 6x does not have a denominator. If it helps you, if it provides clarity, you can rewrite it as 6x over 1. It's the same thing. All right, so now we can multiply across. We have negative 3 times 6x. That's negative 18x. And then we have 4 times 1 is 4. On the other side, we have negative 3 times 16, and we have 4 times 9. Now, if you want, you can go ahead and multiply that across. What I'm going to do, because it's easier and faster, I'm going to reduce this before I multiply. So 3 goes into 3 once, 3 goes into 9 3 times. 4 goes into 16 4 times, 4 goes into 4 once. So now I have negative 1 times 4, which is negative 4, and I have 1 times 3, which is 3. Notice I did not follow that procedure on the left-hand side, so negative 18 over 4 can actually be reduced. What I need to do is I need to divide both 18 and 4 by 2. When I do that, that gives me negative 9x over 2, and then I have either plus negative 4/3, or you could write it more simply as minus 4/3. Now you might be asking yourself, wait a minute, those two terms don't have common denominators. Isn't that a problem? Well, the truth is they're not like terms. I can't do anything to combine them anyways. So it's totally fine that they don't have the same denominator. I can just leave my final answer just as it is, negative 9x over 2 minus 4 over 3. Also remember, just in general, we always want to have improper fractions. We want to stay away from mixed numbers, and we want to stay away from decimals. Let's do another example. This problem says 5/6 times the quantity 12 over 125 minus 6 over 5x. So again, everything needs to be multiplied by 5/6. 5/6 times 12 over 125. And then here you have a choice. You can write minus 5/6 times 6/5 x. And if it upsets you to put the minus sign there, you could also put it next to the 6/5 x, as long as you use parentheses to indicate that you're still multiplying. Okay? So now what do we need to do? Well, again, when you multiply fractions, you can always multiply across. I'm going to choose to simplify or reduce first because it saves me a lot of time. So 6 goes into 12 twice, 6 goes into 6 once. So 12 over 6 reduces to 2 over 1. Likewise, 5 goes into 5 once, 5 goes into 125 25 times. So 5 over 125 reduces to 1 over 25. Now if I multiply across, I have 1 times 2, which is 2, and 1 times 25, which is 25. On the other side, the 5's cancel out. 5 divided by 5 is 1. 5 divided by 5 is 1. Likewise, the 6's cancel out. 6 divided by 6 is 1. 6 divided by 6 is 1. 1 times 1 is 1 on the top, right? 1 times 1 is 1 on the bottom. Now, I don't need to write 1 over 1. I could just rewrite it as minus 1x. And I don't even need that 1. I could rewrite it as 2 over 25 minus x. So if I were grading this on a test, that would get full marks, or this would also get full marks. If you wanted to be a little bit creative, you could also rewrite it as negative x plus 2 over 25. That would be a correct answer. You could also rewrite it as negative 1x plus 2 over 25. Those are all correct answers that would get full points. All right, how about this one? This time we have 2 opportunities to apply the distributive property. So we have 1/2 times the quantity 4x minus 12. So we have 1/2 times 4x, that's 2x. And then we have 1/2 times negative 12, that's negative 6. Over here, be careful because this is a negative sign. That means the negative 1/4 is what's getting multiplied, is what we're multiplying everything inside the parentheses by. So everything inside those parentheses is going to change signs. The 12x is going to become negative. The negative 16 is going to become positive. So let me write this out just so that you guys can see this and you don't get confused by the signs. So you have negative 1/4 times 12x, and then we have negative 1/4 times negative 16. I want everybody to see this. All right, so I'm just going to bring down the 2x minus 6. Nothing's changing there. Okay, so I have negative 1/4 times 12x. Again, to save a little bit of bother, you can divide both by 4. 12 divided by 4 is 3. 4 divided by 4 is 1. So then we have negative 1 times 3. It's negative 3x. You can put it over 1 or not. It does not matter. Okay. Over here we have negative 1 over 4 times negative 16. Notice that a negative times a negative is going to give us a positive. So we have positive 16 over 4. So if I simplify this a little bit more, I have 2x minus 6 minus 3x, and then of course 16 divided by 4 is positive 4. Now, unfortunately, we're still not done. We can use that commutative property to rearrange our terms. We make them commute. We make them move around. So we have 2x minus 3x, and then we have a minus 6, and we have a plus 4. So 2x minus 3x is negative 1x, or negative x, whichever you prefer. And then negative 6 plus 4 is negative 2. So the correct answer is negative 1x minus 2. You could also write it as negative x minus 2. You could also write it as negative 2 minus x. You could also write it as negative 2 minus 1x. Again, all of these are correct answers. You can pick any one of those and get full credit for them. All right, let's do one more example, maybe 2. All right, number 5, we have 1/3 times the quantity 9x minus 27 minus the quantity x minus 3. So once again, we have a negative sign here, and we don't have a number here. So remember, we really need to be careful anytime this happens, and the easiest way to take care in these situations is to put a negative 1 there, which reminds us that everything in the parentheses is getting multiplied by negative 1. So let's start at the beginning. So we have 1/3 times 9x. That's going to give us 3x. Then we have 1/3 times negative 27. That gives us negative 9. Then we have negative 1 times x. That's negative 1x or negative x. And then we have negative 1 times negative 3. That gives us positive 3. Then we can use our commutative property to move these around. Remember, the signs travel with the terms. So I have a 3x minus 1x. 3x minus 1x is 2x. Then I also have a minus 9. We'll bring that down. And a plus 3. So minus 9 plus 3 is minus 6 or negative 6. So I have 2x minus 6. Okay, you could also rewrite it as negative 6 plus 2x. That would be also correct. Okay, let's try this next problem. So we have 7 times the quantity x plus 2. Let's just jump right in because that's pretty straightforward. 7 times x is 7x. And we have 7 times 2 is 14. So far we have 7x plus 14. But we still have to deal with the other side of the problem. Then it says minus 2/7 times the quantity, 14x minus 28. So negative 2/7 times 14x. Because this is a little bit more complicated, a little bit more difficult to do in my head, I'm going to write it out. Then I have a minus 2/7 times a negative 28. Okay? So let's see if we can simplify some of these terms. So again, I'm just going to bring down the 7x, bring down the plus 14. So negative 2/7 times 14x, I'm going to do the thing where I simplify first. 14 divided by 7 is 2. 7 divided by 7 is 1. Negative 2 times 2 is negative 4x. If you want, you can rewrite it as negative 4x over 1. You do not need the over 1. Okay, over here I have a negative 2/7 times negative 28. Just looking at that, I know that the negative times the negative is going to give me a positive. Okay, I can also say that 7 goes into 28 4 times, and 7 goes into 7 once. So again, I have a negative 2 times a negative 4. That gives me a positive 8. If it makes you more comfortable, you can write it as positive 8 over 1. But again, you don't need that denominator. So now we have 7x plus 14 minus 4x plus 8. So what we can do, again, use that commutative property to move these guys around. So we have a 7x minus 4x. That gives us a 3x. And then we have a plus 14 and a plus 8. And that gives us a plus 22. So the final answer is 3x plus 22. If you wanted to write it as 22 plus 3x, that's also a correct answer.